Oh, come on. We ain't starting with questions. Come on, I get to talk first. Huh? Let's have a little bit of fun first. Welcome back to football. I mean, this is obviously, in my opinion, the best time of the year. It gets everybody excited. I mean, there's 2 days out of 365 days of the year that there's not professional sports of any kind. It's the day before the All-Star game, Major League Baseball's game, and the day after the Major League Baseball game. The rest of the year, you've got professional sports every single day. College football starts on August 23rd, and we're going to be going all the way till mid-January, and hopefully we're somewhere in that mix. So the opportunity that we have of the Guaranteed 12 is amazing. The expectations, I mean, Seth's got a hell of a lot harder job than I do right now because they don't expect us to be worth a darn on defense. I read the message boards. I feel the vibe of the community in Tucson, and I got no problem with it whatsoever. And if you look back at the history of this program, I mean, this is the 126th year of football at the University of Arizona. And minus the 3 years that we didn't play during World War II, we fielded a team. And statistically and historically, there's been 2 really good eras of Arizona football. Now, Coach Tomey did a great job, and the continuity from 87 till 2000 was probably the best football other than when they dominated in the border conference early in the 40s. Okay, and then they go to the WAC and they win a couple conference championships, and then they move to the Pac-12 and don't win a championship till 93, a co-championship where they lost to UCLA or they go to the Rose Bowl. And then on defense, everybody talks about the Desert Swarm. And to create something like that, you have to be unbelievably special. The Desert Swarm was a 4-year period, from 92 to 95. In 91, they finished 81st in the country in total defense. In 92, they go to second. In 93, they finished second. In 94, they finished 10th. In 95, they finished 7th. That's the real true era of the Desert Swarm. That's unbelievable defense now. I mean, that's now you have Teddy Bruschi, you have Waldrop, you have Brandon Sanders, you have Joe Salavea, you have all those guys. They had great players. And then Coach Ellerson, Coach Aquina, and those guys, they coached the hell out of them, and they had a dominant force. And that's one of the best eras of Arizona football. Okay, so we're trying to recreate that. How do you do that? 1, you have to have enough talent. 2, you have to have a coach that wants to be here. Continuity is going to play a big factor in the building of this program in the Big 12. And we put pieces together, and I think as a staff, we've got great pieces, okay? In anything you do, you have to believe in yourself and be willing to throw yourself out there, and if you think you're going to be a badass, if you think you're going to be good at something. Because if you don't have that belief, you got no chance. And getting our kids to believe that, something special, okay? The Desert Swarm era, I've been a part of some stuff, I mean, from San Diego State. If you go from 2014 to 2017, we finished 11th, 5th, 10th, nationally. Won the 3rd most games behind Ohio State and Oklahoma in that run, okay, defensively. If you go back to 2013, the University of Arizona, in statistical defense from 2013 till 2025, they finished in the top 100 or greater 8 times. Terrific. They finished under 100 4 times. They've only finished in the top 50 1 time in 23. And Jed Fish did a great job. Offensively, they had a really good unit. No one had a great year. So we didn't have to play as much defense around here, and Coach Nance and them guys did a great job and finished 48th. Okay, that's not our standard. Okay, so the expectation around here, God, you guys have been bludgeoned. So nobody thinks we're going to be worth a darn. That's outstanding to me, because then all we get to do is talk about the end. Now, are we going to talk hyperboles? That was for 1 year, guys. Are we going to talk realistic? All that talk in the spring about numbers and all that stuff is great, but now we actually get to play games, and statistics show up on Saturday. So we got a great opportunity. The history hasn't said it, so that's our job, to change history. So Coach Scheer, go ahead.
Sorry, Justin. Cool.
Okay.
Well, I mean, kind of like what you talked about, you know, I'm not saying that this group is going to be Desert Swarm, but kind of do you feel like in some ways they're almost similar because it's a lot of under-recruited, maybe, you know, guys that weren't really looked at coming out of high school that could turn out to be really good?
I think in 2 ways. I believe in what we do. I believe in myself. And I believe in the 17 to 18 guys that are going to play 90% of the snaps on Saturday, that we have enough talent. And you're going to hear me say that, and it's across the board. you do not have to have the most talent, but you have to have enough. Because if you don't have enough, it doesn't matter what we do schematically on either side of the ball. But if you have enough, now you can take advantage of some things by giving people pictures that they might not understand, or doing some different things with different personnel groups. We're not static. We're hard to prepare for in 3 days. And so if you have enough talent, it could be similar to that group. And I said it back in February. I won't compare. I mean, everybody talks about Desert Swarm and all stuff. That's who we are right now. We're not good enough to be that right now. Let us prove it on Saturday. Let us prove it for an extended period of time over 7, 8 games, and then see people start talking. And I'm still going to shy away from it because that 2, 7, and 10, it's unbelievable now. That's impressive. So let's shoot for it and see what happens.
One of those under-recruited guys coming out of high school was Riley Wilson. What have you seen out of him, or what did you see out of him on tape, and what has he shown you so far?
The portal thing is hard because you get usually a year and a half to recruit somebody to 2 years, and you're trying to do it in 3 days. Now, we had an advantage with Riley because Bobby Houck, who's the head coach at Montana, and I were on the same staff together at San Diego State for 3 or 4 years. And so I called him instantly and said, one, how tough is he? And he said, I'd appreciate it if you'd talk him into staying into Montana. I said, well, the kid wants to leave. I mean, come on, Bobby. And he kind of laughed. I said, he goes, you should take him and do everything you can to get him. And so we started that process because, one, they do what we do. So he's been in the system for 2 years. He's a tough sucker, and he's got great leadership skills. All that was learned in one conversation. And then we get to know the kid and his family on the visit. And so it's like speed dating that they talk about. You got to do all those things fast. But I had somebody that I really trust in this business validate him before I ever talked to him. So it made it simple. And Riley Wilson's going to be a household name in Tucson by the end of the season. He's got some dynamic things that he can do both on and off the football. He's smart. And I've yelled at him 4 or 5 times in the last 2 days about not running into somebody because we're not even in pads. And it's great to have to slow him down. As opposed to, you got $250,000 running around out there. You better, in 3 or 4 players, you better freaking not run them into each other when we ain't wearing pads. Which is a completely drastic change from everything we've done. So it's fun.
Troy and David?
Kind of continuing that in terms of the linebacker room, how you guys went about revamping it and getting Max Harris there and Riley Wilson, just the experience they bring to the locker room.
Let's start with Tay first. Tay Brown. I told Tay Brown back in January, I'm going to do everything I can to out-recruit you. And he looked at me and said, well, go ahead, you ain't. And he was right. Max has done a great job. Levi's had a first 2 days, which has been awesome because we haven't had anything out of Levi since he's been here. He's been hurt for the majority of it. He's still hampering through some of his stuff, but he's been good the first 2 days. So now we put on pads tomorrow, and let's see that continue. Max and Riley and Jabari. Jabari and Max have very similar qualities. Max is probably 3 inches taller than Jabari and has done it at the FBS level. The leadership skills in that room are something special between Tay, Max, Riley, and Chase, which creates competition and creates value in that room. And that's another room that nobody thinks is worth a darn. So those guys have a chip on their shoulder, which is fun.
And then with Tay Brown, you kind of mentioned it, but just his growth from the start of last year to now, this year being an upperclassman.
He's finally talking. He wouldn't talk, not his comfort zone. But when you put on the tape, you put on every single day that he is the epitome of red line. He attacks every day violently. And the red line in our program, you're gonna hear that term. That piece of it, it's what we're built on. It's 100%, 100 miles an hour, 100% of the time. Okay, that's the effort. Nobody controls that but you. Execution. Okay, if you want to play, prove it. Everybody gets that opportunity. Don't complain that you're not playing. If you're not playing, I promise you, the coaches are going to play the best players. Prove it. Prove that you get to play. And then accountability. When you screw up, own it. Own it and fix it. Solve the problem. That is the mantra of our program, and we're going to continue to do that and attack every single day with that. And that room with Max and Riley and those guys, they've created that. Tay Brown is the epitome of red line.
David and then Michael?
Coach, when you see guys like Harris and Gocher, what makes you believe that what they did at the lower level will translate here in Power 4?
Blake is going through fixing some injury stuff and rehabbing and Nothing major. He's just kind of had ups and downs since he's been here. He's got a beautiful son that was just born. And Taylor's his other half is, they're doing some phenomenal things. So we're getting Blake back into the mix of getting into full football. Max did a great job at Texas State last year. And if you watch their great opponents, he has a good feel for where the ball's going to go, where the ball's going to break. And the way, we're not a gap control scheme. You can't ask somebody what gap they have. They're not going to tell you. We cancel gaps with alignment and movement. He has a great feel to fit where that ball's going to pop. And a lot of those things you can't coach. There's some natural to a good middle linebacker like that. Genesis has some of that. That's why we moved the bear down there for some of those packages. But he's done it at a high level, and he's big and strong enough. He's one of the 300-pound power cleaners. He's big and strong enough.
And that drill you guys have been doing early in practice where you tackle the dummy and then the tire and then scoop and score, what's the essence of what you're trying to accomplish?
Violence. Hit that bag as hard as you can. Pop up off the ground, because it's okay to get knocked down. It's a sin to stay down. Everybody's going to get knocked down, and if you're playing hard, that's okay. Get your tail up. Find the next thing. Hit it too. When you got 300-pounders like Tia and Leroy and those guys, and they jump on the pile at the very end, it hurts. So get them to do that. And then ball security, turnovers, creating turnovers, being comfortable with the football in your hands. You'll hear all the time, DBs drop balls, that's why they're DBs. Well, get comfortable with that. In my 4 years at San Diego State, from the great run we were talking about, we had 84 interceptions in a 4-year period. Led the nation, okay? That's because those guys were comfortable. Now, they were good players, but they were comfortable with the ball in their hands. So creating that thing and then creating violence without tackling our own guys, if they're afraid to hit a bag, they ain't going to play, because they ain't going to hit somebody. But it eliminates jet screens, it eliminates tunnel screens, it eliminates all those things if they play with that violent demeanor, and then everything they do is full speed and it's intent to hurt whatever it is in front of them.
Michael and Jason.
Both you and Coach Salave have said ideally you want your big guys to play 35, 40 snaps a game, which means you're going to have a rotation. Beyond Deshaun and Tia, I guess Leroy Palu and Bear Anderson are going to have the second group. Can you give me an assessment, or give us an assessment of that kind of second group of defensive tackles, and maybe there's some other guys besides
the one that nobody's talking about, Julian Savanea, has done a phenomenal job with the transformation of his body and what he's done in the weight room. Another 300-pound power cleaner. He's 280 pounds, not a hyperbole, 280 pounds. His twitch and quickness is going to create problems for people. You don't have to be 300 pounds to be a great defensive lineman. It helps. And if you're like Tia and you're 305 pounds and you can move, and you're like Deshaun and you can move, and you're like Leroy and you can move, it makes it significantly harder for those guys to target. Bear and Julian's 280, Bear's 271 yesterday, I think. With what we do, their quickness and ability and making things flash and making things get around. And if you guys remember a name of Hercules Maatafa from Washington State a couple years ago, okay? And it's a terrible idea to compare people to great players, but those skill sets are similar. And so I'm hoping people talk about Bear like they did about Hercules. And guess who's coaching them? The same guy. And so seeing that value, I think we've got those 5 inside for sure, okay? The one that nobody's talking about that's a freaky strong that needs to learn how to play in there is Chancellor Owens. He's a 600-pound, and I'm talking about 603 reps squatter. Coach Carroll stopped him. He's got some unbelievable power. He's just like a baby deer. We just have to teach him how to use that power and be comfortable with it. And he's done some good things in the first 2 days of camp, but we haven't had any pads on. So we'll see over the next few days. So you got those 6, and if those other 2 come, they're added benefits. But we're going to play a rotation in there and different people in there. When we're 3 down or when we're 4 down, you've got Deshaun being able to be a 5 technique. You got Malachi Bailey being able to be a 5 technique. You got Bear being able to be a 5 technique, can be a 3 technique, can be a shade. Most of the time you're going to see Tia over the nose in our 3-down stuff because Tia can dominate a center. And if you've got somebody that can be right over the football, it makes it really hard for offenses to run the ball. And we will not let people run the ball. We gave up 2 deep balls today by the first unit, which we hadn't done since the spring ball. which was frustrating. And now we'll get Stooks back on Monday, full speed, crossover and all that stuff. It's kind of paying slow into the moment for him. So that's exciting. So that'll move some of the pieces around and see where we end up there.
Jason?
Got two questions for you. You mentioned violence when you're out there, you're yelling at the players to be violent. Is that something you can coach into a player, or when you recruit them, do they have to be that way?
That's a great question. And let's talk to Pop Warner and Yaffle and whatever they call you, Little League football. You want to know if a kid's going to be violent and aggressive? You'll see it when he's 8 years old, because you cannot teach that to a kid. If they have a violent nature, you can teach a violent strike. You can teach them to be aggressive. If they're willing to run through that bag full speed, they're willing to run through a person full speed. If they stutter before it, probably not going to happen. So you do have to take that up in recruiting. You don't want to recruit a DB that's played 4 years and had one interception either, because he's not going to intercept the ball in college all of a sudden. That's not going to change. So all those things go into account. But finding aggressive nature, the people that have ill intent and violence when they strike things, and then the greatest piece of that is how do you find those people and then take them to Chipotle and they act normal, okay? Because there's a difference now. You can have some crazies that, I mean, you guys watch that movie, The Program, Latimer. I don't want that dude on my football team because he's freaking nuts outside of here. It's a loose cannon. You don't know what's going to happen when he leaves here. So you got to figure out how you can have those great people and be that same, I want Latimer on Saturdays. I'll promise you that. And how do you find both? And a lot of it is through recruiting. That's what makes the transfer portal so hard. That you're trying to figure that out in a day, so you better find people you trust.
And then you mentioned Stooks being full go on Monday. In his absence, or maybe Aiden Garnes has played well. When Stooks gets back, do you see yourself shifting some things? Do you have to kind of figure that out? Or?
So we kind of made that shift at the end of spring. We let Aiden go through all of spring. So we have a field cat and a boundary cat, which field cat would be your nickel-ish, boundary cat would be your boundary safety. They can play either side. So we had Aiden play in our field cat for 90% of spring ball. And then we moved him out at the corner to compete with J. Cole and Mike Dansby. And obviously MGK's out there. Aiden has been out at corner since the end of spring ball. And he's competing his tail off to take a starting job from one of those guys. It's really hard to shift inside, not as hard to shift outside, because we asked that field cat to do a lot. I mean, he's an outside linebacker. He's got to be able to cover like a corner. He's got to be able to be in the post and all those things. So he had to be able to develop those skills during spring ball. We knew Trayton Stooks was coming back. If I had to move Aiden Garnes back inside, simple, because he's done it and he's proved he can do it. Gavin Hunter has done a phenomenal job in the last 2 days running with the ones, which gives us added depth right there to have a rotation if Stooks needs a break. Now, Stooks hopefully will play 75, 80 plays. And traditionally, the secondary, they should be able to go all day long. I mean, we're going to run the tar of those guys so that's all they get. And the practicing outside the last 2 days has been phenomenal. I mean, it's 100 right now, I wish it was 110. And we slowed up a little bit, and we need to hydrate and continue to hydrate better because it's going to be an advantage to us. And the fact that we can't play games before 6 p.m. until like late October, they don't make that rule in freaking Ames, Iowa, that you can't play when it's 2 degrees. So they should be able to let us play when it's 115. But whatever, it's all right, it's good.
Juan and then Justin.
Just following up on Trayton Stooks coming back, what does it mean to have that maturity and experience in your secondary, not even just Stooks alone? Dalton Johnson, Genesis Smith, you got a lot of playing time last year. What does that do for your defense?
The one that, I mean, with Trayton's injury, Jack Luttrell got a lot of experience too. And Jack's another 300-pound power cleaner, and he's 187 pounds and whatever. So he got ran over by Quincy Craig, and he's going to be mad that I mentioned it. I don't care. Now he gets to go out there and prove that he's going to run over somebody coming downhill, and now he's strong enough and explosive enough to do it. Dalton and Stooks, so the 21 defense around here finished 62nd, and the 23 defense finished 48th. Okay, that's two out of the top that weren't in the top 100 in the last 12 years here, and they were both a part of it. Dalton and Stooks. Stooks' story is tremendous. He's talented. He's a great person. He's a great athlete. He's a great football player. He's come back from an awful injury, and he's done a phenomenal job. And having that experience and having that belief in those guys and the belief in what we do and having them back, it's invaluable. You can't replace it. You can't replace it in the transfer portal, especially those guys that go someplace for 4 to 5 years. They have extremely better circumstance, most of the time outcome, and experience, most importantly, when they're somewhere 4 to 5 years. And we saw that in recruiting.
We'll go Justin and finish with Michael.
When was the last time you were a defensive coordinator? Was it 2018?
So, yes, so I was defense coordinator in 2018, called defenses at New Mexico. I mean, I was a firm believer you're only going to be, when you get those opportunities, you're going to be good when you're not. If you're not doing it, then why? Now, I had the opportunity, so I worked with 4 Rocky Long for 20 years. And in my opinion, Rocky Long is one of the greatest football minds in all of college football history. And the runs that we had at San Diego State and the runs that we had when we were at New Mexico the first time. I mean, New Mexico hadn't been in the top 50 in total defense since we left in 2008. And in 2021, 22, 23, we finished 39, 43, 44. That stuff that hadn't been done there since we had left, which is exciting. So that piece of it, if we'd been better on offense, I probably wouldn't be here. But we weren't, so.
And as a coach, what have you learned between 2018 to now?
Oh, I'm a hell of a lot better assistant coach than I was prior to my opportunity being a head coach. I can do a lot of things and take a lot of things off of Brent's plate that I know he has to deal with, and I can keep him from having to deal with them because I know I have little ideas. I know it's his football team, and we've got 10 coaches on this staff, and he trusts us to do a job, and we have a great responsibility in getting Brent Brennan a second contract and keeping Brent Brennan here as long as he can possibly or wants to be here. That's the job of the assistant coaches. Because if a head coach gets fired, it's because it's because the people that he hired screwed him. That's the reality of it. That's how I feel about it. It's our job to get Brent Brennan an extension here. It's our job to create his legacy. Now, you've got to be a great leader, and he's a great leader of men. You've got to be able to trust the people you hire. I think Coach Dagey and Coach Niver are phenomenal. And we've got experience across the board. We've got guys that have been there and done it. And I mean, the University of Arizona has never been to the Rose Bowl. Now, the designation of the Big 12 doesn't go to the Rose Bowl. But if you go to the Rose Bowl or CFP, that's something in the history we haven't done. In '93, they had a chance and lost to UCLA. I mean, they were probably better. And UCLA beat them. They didn't get to go. So now, let's create that. Let's let Brent Brennan leave a legacy of going to that game, finding a way. Have enough talent. Get them to play hard and believe what you're doing. We have an advantage in the desert. So let's do it.
Last question, Michael.
If everything clicks for Genesis Smith this year, what does that look like?
If everything clicks for Genesis Smith, he'll have a chance to be the Big 12 Player of the Year. He'll be first team All Big 12, and he probably won't be here next year, unfortunately. That's how talented he is, and that's what that position is going to the opportunity that position creates for him. It'd be a good and a bad problem to have, because trying to replace that guy would be really hard. He's a special human being. He's created a nonprofit. He was able to create Christmas for families that didn't have a Christmas otherwise. The kind of person he is, and the fact that he wants to be in Tucson. I mean, all his friends left, and he hopped in the portal like, is this what I'm supposed to do? And he went on one visit, and he's like, why did I even do this? I mean, that was, but I'm glad he did, because it gave him an opportunity to see that he actually loves this place and creates something here for himself, which is fantastic. That was the last question? Okay, before we go, I'm going to double down on this too. We have a strong-ass football team. Coach Carroll's done a phenomenal job in the offseason. I said it the other day, we have 34 guys that can power clean over 300 pounds. That's a damn strong football team. That's explosive. That power cleaning 300 pounds from the ground is an explosive movement, and it creates violence when you hit somebody. It creates problems when you hit somebody, and having the ability to have that, our guys put in the work to do it because it doesn't just happen. That's something that very few people, there's a couple. Alexander Deuce might have some of that. I mean, he power cleaned almost 400 pounds. Some of it was a reverse curl because he's so naturally strong. most people can't reverse curl 300 pounds. You have to have technique, you have to have explosion, you have to have athleticism to be able to do that, which was exciting. Okay, so we have the opportunity from that vantage point. On game day, we use the weight room as a locker room. People ask me all the time, I've had people ask me questions, why do you put curtains up on the weight room? We use it as the locker room so they're in there changing. We do adjustments in there at halftime. That's where the defense goes at halftime. So give Coach Carroll some credit for what he's been able to build in that weight room amongst his football team. Now, if you're a strong football team, does that mean you're going to be good at football? No. But I'll tell you what, it gives you a darn good chance, because if you don't have that, you got no chance whatsoever. And so the progress that we've made in this program in all aspects, and Coach B's talked about it and how we tried to keep that team together and the mistakes we made in that process, there ain't no mistakes being made right now. If they don't want to be a part of this, they can get the heck out. And everybody that's here, like Noah said, stayed for Coach B or was recruited by Coach B's staff. And what they created here in 23 was magical. And that's our job, to recreate that magic, because Tucson is a heck of a lot better place when this place is good in both football and basketball. And then all of the other sports that we have, women's softball and women's soccer and all the tennis and swimming and diving and volleyball, all that's so much more fun, and people start going to those things too. And you guys have great impact on helping us attack this community and helping us attack and being great. Now, the reality of it is, it's only worth a darn if we win, okay? And all these words mean nothing if we don't win. We've got an opportunity, and in 31 days or 30 days, we get a chance to go out here, and I hope it's 110 degrees when Hawaii steps on the field, and I hope it's 115 when Weber State and Kansas State step on the field, because we'll have the advantage, because that's all we do every single day. And y'all need to stop standing in that indoor, in that nice air conditioning spot. Come out there on South Beach and hang out with us. Huh? It's a heck of a lot more fun out there in the sun than it is sitting in that nice air conditioned indoor. But we appreciate you guys for all you do. You have a great impact on our perception in this community. Obviously, winning creates that impact, period. But you guys do a great job. It helps in recruiting. It helps in fan support. It helps in everything we do. So we value you. We appreciate you coming to practice. We appreciate you having these deals, because people watch, they invest, they spark interest. Our kids absolutely love having you guys out there, because everybody, I mean, from the time they were this big, want to be on TV and want to be talked about and want to be all those things. And when we give them good reasons to talk about, whether it's good or bad, it means people care. And I say it all the time. So thank you for being out here and being a part of our program. And let's go to the freaking Rose Bowl. Bear down.
Thanks, Danny.
Thank you guys.